Did you know that if you laid out all your blood vessels end to end, they'd stretch 100,000 kilometers, enough to wrap around the Earth twice? It's one of our all-time favorite fun facts. We've used it in our videos, books, and even in our app, but 100,000 kilometers, that's a lot. We've repeated this fact so many times. So one day, we asked ourselves, where did this number even come from? And, is it actually true? That simple question launched us into an epic research riddle that took over a year to unravel. It started innocently. We love collecting fascinating facts to liven up our work. And this one was perfect. Your tiny vessels add up to something huge. Small thing, big number. Wow. But when we tried to find the original source, things got weird. If you Google any variation of how long are your blood vessels, you'll see the same numbers, 100,000 kilometers or 60,000 miles, over and over. They appear in books, blogs, lecture notes, articles, even scientific papers. But none of them point to an original source. Some said the number came from just your veins and arteries. Others claimed it included capillaries too. A few even said it was only capillaries. The inconsistency was suspicious, and now it felt personal. We had to get to the bottom of it. We started with Google. No luck, so we dug deeper into PubMed, the database for biomedical research. Still nothing, not one clear source. We tried every search trick we could think of. Eventually, we found some biology textbooks that mentioned the number. We contacted the authors. Their response: yeah, that number has been around for decades. We're not sure where it's from either. Time to go further back. We searched older publications, focusing on the 1990s. Finally, a breakthrough to promising books. Vital Circuits by Stephen Vogel, Looking at the Body by David Suzuki. Suzuki is a legendary science communicator with a PhD in zoology and 29 honorary degrees. Maybe he was the original source or knew who was. We tracked down a copy of Looking at the Body, and there it was. If all the body's blood vessels were laid end to end, they would stretch 96,000 kilometers, 60,000 miles. That's about 2.5 times around the world. Bingo. Well, sort of, because even this didn't cite a source, so we found ourselves in a strange place, quoting a widely accepted number no one could trace. Even the experts didn't know where it came from. And so, the riddle deepened. He might know where the number came from, but Dr. David Suzuki had no public email. Instead, we found a note. Personal inquiries are possible by writing a letter to Dr. Suzuki. Old school respectable. So, we wrote a letter. Dear Dr. Suzuki, we're writing to you on a matter of grave importance. Where did the 100,000 kilometers blood vessel number come from? Our internet video and our sanity depend on it. Pretty please. Respectfully yours, the Kurzgesagt Fact Checkers 3. Weeks later, we got a reply. Dear weird internet people, unfortunately, Dr. Suzuki does not recall the source of this data. The book is over 30 years old, and those files are no longer available. Good luck with your project, you'll need it. Kind regards. Public Information Coordinatorike. They didn't quite say that, and they were actually super nice. But still, no answer. Just more mystery. Next, we turned to Vital Circuits, a 1992 book by Duke University biomechanics professor Stephen Vogel. He wrote, combined length of pipes, 100,000 kilometers, 60,000 miles, more than twice around the Earth at the equator. Sounds promising. But again, no direct source. The book contains a reference list of 93 items, but doesn't say which fact comes from where. So now we faced a decision: give up, or start checking all 93 references one by one. We'd already come so far, may as well dive in, and then dumb luck. On a whim, we started at the end of the list. The very first reference we checked turned out to be what we were looking for, a 1950 Scientific American article called The Microcirculation of the Blood. We got our hands on a scanned copy of the 65-year-old issue. There it was, the number, but it wasn't the original source. The article cited a 1922 book, The Anatomy and Physiology of Capillaries by August Krog, Nobel Prize winner in physiology. We tracked down a copy of Krog's book, and bingo, there it was, the true original source of the 100,000 kilometers claim. A line from one of his lectures reads, supposing a man's muscles to weigh 50 kilograms and his capillaries to number 2,000 per square mm, the total length of all these tubes must be something like 100,000 kilometers, or 2.5 times round the globe. While other scientists had speculated before, Krog was the first to publish an estimate based on actual experiments. It was a solid scientific contribution at the time, but was it accurate? Well, Krog didn't include his calculations, just a cryptic table. So we had to dig into the actual book. Cue book reading montage. Turns out, in a very early 20th century science kind of way, Krog basically winged it. He took muscle samples from various animals, did a lot of counting, made assumptions, and used an idealized human body weighing 143 kilograms with 50 kilograms of pure muscle. From there he got his neat, satisfying number, 100,000 km. To be fair, this wasn't central to his work. It was more of a fun calculation on the side. But because Krog was a respected expert, his number stuck. It crept into scientific papers, then textbooks, and eventually popular science writing. Over time it became dogma, entirely separated from its shaky origins. By this point we had spent over a year solving this bizarre little puzzle, and then just for good measure we Googled it again. Surprise! While we were elbow deep in 100 books and mailing letters to Canada, scientists had quietly published a new paper. It offered a far more accurate estimate. So what's the real number? According to the latest science, the total length of capillaries in a human is between 9,000 and 19,000 kilometers. Still impressive, but not enough to wrap around the Earth, even once. A sort of conclusion: if you look up the question today, you'll still mostly find the old number 100,000 kilometers repeated everywhere, including in one of our own videos. Oops. And honestly, that number will probably stay around for a while. Why? Because double-checking facts like this is really hard and time-consuming. It took us over a year of sleuthing, reading ancient books, writing physical letters, and chasing obscure references. Most scientists and science communicators don't have that kind of time when writing a paper, making a video, or teaching a class. If a number sounds reasonable and appears in credible places, it just gets quoted, and re-quoted. Also, let's face it, 100,000 kilometers of blood vessels just sounds really cool, but now you know the truth, and we do too. And that for us makes it worth it. Once you've heard it, a beautiful fact tends to stick, and that's exactly the problem, isn't it? The most captivating stories, the ones that make us go wow, are the ones that survive. They spread faster, get repeated more often, and with every retelling they often become more dramatic, more fun, and sometimes less true. Getting to the actual facts takes effort. A lot of it. Meanwhile, a catchy number or claim can be passed along in seconds. That's how misinformation persists sometimes, not because of bad intentions, but simply because it's easy. When we started this journey, we never expected it to take over a year. But that's the reality behind our short science videos. What seems simple on the surface often means navigating a maze behind the scenes. We do our best to make our stories as accurate as humanly possible. And even though we might fall into the same traps as everyone else from time to time, we're committed to correcting ourselves, giving you better context, and bringing you the most reliable science we can. Thanks for coming on this little adventure with us. See you next time. Sponsored segment: -80,000 hours sometimes. Challenging common wisdom leads you to surprising places. If you're someone who wants to do more good in the world, approaching your career with that same curiosity and commitment, evidence can open up paths you might not have considered. That's where 80,000 hours comes in. They're a non-profit that offers free career advice, based on years of research and expert consultation, designed to help people find meaningful work that also has a big positive impact on the world. They tackle questions like, how much difference can one person make? Which global issues need more attention? What careers could help the most? And the answers might surprise you, because sometimes the most impactful path isn't the one everyone talks about. So if you're thinking about how to make your career really count, check out their free newsletter and get a copy of their in-depth career guide at 80,000hours.org/in a nutshell. Join the flock. Support Kurzgesagt. Love going down rabbit holes like this one, but cutting through the noise and fighting misinformation takes time and a lot of stubborn persistence. At Kurzgesagt, we don't copy what's been said before. We don't stop at the first answer. We look deeply, recheck, and sometimes spend an entire year getting a single fact right. And we can only afford to work this way, thanks to the incredible support of our patrons. They're the reason we can take the time to get things right. You'd like to help us keep making thoughtful, fact-checked science videos? Consider joining our Patreon. In return, you'll get perks like your very own Kurzgesagt Burb exclusive behind-the-scenes content, sneak peeks of upcoming videos. So, if you want to be part of the reason the internet has more reliable science content, join the flock at patreon.com/Kurz, GESAGT. Let's single quotes make the world a little more curious together.